All right, guys, welcome back. Lesson 5. I'm going to go through a few of these images. I'm not going to do them all today. The book is really straightforward with their advice and the things they want you to do. So I'm only going to do this boy here and the picture of the bird, the egret. And you can go ahead and finish the rest of them on your own. One note, the panoramic that the book is going to have you do may or may not work on your computer the way they have you do it. If it doesn't work, don't worry about it. For whatever reason, Photoshop's having some trouble recently with this pre-made stitching panoramic feature. I'm not sure what's going on. It didn't work last semester in our class. It worked on some computers. It worked on the PCs, but not the Macs. So I'm working on a Mac right now, and I can't get it to work. However, you might be working on a PC, and it might work just fine. So we'll see how it goes for you guys. So first of all, I open this image up. This is boystart.jpg. And as you can see right off the bat, there's some issues with it. It's a little dark overall, and his eyes are red. He looks like a demon child. So what we need to do is correct that. You get red eye in pictures when a flash goes off and the light reflects off your retina. A lot of cameras nowadays have red eye correction built into the camera, but if your camera doesn't and you have red eyes and you want to fix it, it's really easy to do in Photoshop. The red eye tool is located underneath of the spot healing brush tool. So if I go over here, click on this, and go down to the red eye tool, there it is. And the book, or the Photoshop will be preset at 50/50 up here. The book tells you to set the pupil size to 23, and the darken amount to 30%. So go ahead and do that. So I have it set to 23 and 30, and then you just click kind of in the center of their pupil, and the red eyes are removed, and he looks like a normal child once again, which is kind of nice. No longer a demon kid. So the next thing you want to do is lighten up the image. It's kind of dark over here. So what we need to do is go over what we could do. We could use a lot of things. We could use brightness contrast. We could use levels. We could use curves or exposure. And you might want to play around with all those different options and see what they do. But the book's going to have you use a curve right off the bat. So what I'm going to do is show you 3 different kind of presets within the curve options. And every time you change a preset, it kind of wipes out what you did before. So if I hit auto, it kind of brightens it up right away, and it brightens up the midtones, it brightens up the highlights. It looks to be a little bit too much, though, in my opinion. So I'm going to try something different. Under this preset drop-down menu, I'm going to choose lighter, and that's a little bit less drastic, but it lightens up the image nicely. Now, a third thing you might want to do is set the white point. So you might change your white point. And to do that, you go pick your eyedropper tool located over here in your curve panel, and you'll sample an area of the image to set the white point. So the whitest thing in this image is probably the decal on a shirt, and we're going to set this as the white point. So it's going to change the color of the image overall to set that as the purest white. As you can see, it's a pretty drastic change in color and tone. It looks a lot better, actually, I think, in my opinion. But now that we have the white point set, you can go ahead and move, kind of tweak the curve layer as you like. If you want to lighten up a little more, you can do that. You want to darken it, you can do that. Just to let you know, the left side here is the dark area of your image. The middle part is the mid-tone of your image. And the right side over here, this information is the highlight. So as you can see, there's actually less highlight than there is dark areas of the image, and there's less mid-tone. There's a lot of dark areas, and that's all these areas down here that this histogram is picking up. So what you can do is, lighten up the highlights, which even it lightens up some of the, lighten up the midtones by dragging this up, and it lightens up some of the highlights and some of the dark tones too. But you could drag the dark tones back down, so it sort of adds contrast. As you can see, this is before and after. And it looks a lot better. It's a lot brighter of an image overall. And images tend to print darker than they look on the screen, so it's always a good idea to lighten up a little bit more than what you actually would think on a screen, since the screen is backlit and your image is printed off, and it's more reflective. The images always look brighter on the screen. So there we go. That's what the book's going to have you do for this image. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. You'll go ahead and save it and turn it in. The next thing you want to do is open up the picture of the bird or the egret. And to do this, we're going to open it up as a smart object. Now, smart objects are great because You can make changes to it, and it will kind of keep those changes, and you can go back later and alter those changes. So it's sort of like a layer, but it's you can apply filters to the image and go back later and mess with those filters again. So to open an image as a smart object, you go to File, under Browse and Bridge, there's Open a Smart Object. Click on that. Then I'll go find my egret start.jpg and open that up. And that opens it up there. Now what we're going to do to this is blur out the background using a smart filter, or using a blur filter from our blur gallery called the iris blur. And to do that, we go up to Filter, up here in a menu, go down to Blur Gallery, wait till the little box pops up, and then go over to Iris Blur. Click on that, and this automatically sets a blur. Now, each one of these handles can be changed and altered, and this little dial in the center can be changed, and we can move what's actually being blurred around by this midpoint here. So the midpoint is called the center pin. The ellipses are over here. This is the ellipse handle. C is the feather. This is the feather handle right here, and the focus ring is in the center here. This is your focus ring. So what I'm going to do, the book has you move this up to the top, or like the bottom of the bird right here, and also it has you move around some other things. So what we're going to do is drag the feather handles, which are these handles right here, and if we press Alt or Option on your keyboard, as we drag it, we can drag these individually. So I'm going to drag this one here, that one there. This one looks like it's more over here. This one comes down to the bottom of the foot. I guess before that we were supposed to drag the ellipse handle a little closer to the bird. Oh, so we can do that here. We can drag this a little bit closer and then move these handles again to be more in line with where we're supposed to be. So now we haven't moved, and then this is the focus ring. So the book says to take it to 5, but as you see, as you take it to 0, there's no blur applied. But then we can really up the blur to be too much, honestly. But the book has you set it at 5, and then press OK or Return, and it applies that blur. But as you can see over here in your layer panel, we now have a smart filter, and it's in the blur gallery, and we can always go back in here if we double click it and change it again. So what the book has you do is change it back to 6 because 5 wasn't enough, hit return, and there you go. So now when we save this, it'll save as a smart filter, and we can always go back and change this if we'd like, and we're not actually destroying the original image. So I'm going to go ahead and save this and close this, save it, and we'll save it as egret Rainer. Well, we'll save it as Rainer egret smart final. All right, save it as that and close it out, and that's good to go. Now, there's a few more things. The book's going to do a panorama, which may or may not work. Like I said, you're going to correct some image distortion, which is really straightforward and simple. And then adding depth of field, which is kind of fun. I'll let you guys play with that and explore that. And also, you're going to move objects with the Content Aware tool. So go ahead and play with those final things in Lesson 5, and go ahead and finish that up and turn those lessons in before the due date.